Hey! Mathales! Hello! Oh my goodness! The dramatic music. Hi! Hello! Aisha. Aisha. Maybe this isn't the choice. Never mind, it'll be fine. Do. Hello! Dramatic. When was the last time? Was it Friday that I streamed? It's fucking crazy, it's already Monday! I don't know how time's passing like this, you know? How's my volume? Is my volume fine? How is you hearing me? Please do tell. Is it okay? Alright. Ba. I've been practicing loads today. No, I haven't. That's not the thing. That was 2 days ago of commercials and stuff. I'm trying to make a commercial demo reel. But I'm so doubtful of myself. I hate it. I have no reason to doubt myself. Volume's good? Sick, thank you. Where did the weekend go? I was like, what the f— I had so much fun yesterday doing the musical improv though. It was absolutely gorgeous. 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 Did you do anything fun for the weekend? This is really dramatic. I love it. He watched his subordinates beat at the peculiar figure who had, more by chance than by skill, slain one of their own. Long after it was clear their victim had lost all sense, he let his warriors take out their frustration on the unmoving body. The panthers hissed and growled, smelling blood, and it was all the night elves could do to keep them from joining in the violence. I practiced reading backwards just before I started the stream. Violence, the enjoining them, from them, keep to do could elves night, the all was it and. Blood, smelling, growled and hissed panthers the, body unmoving, the on frustration their out, take warriors, his let he. Sense all lost, had victim their clear, was it after long. Own thereof one slain, skill by then chance by more, had who figure peculiar, the at beat subordinates, his as watched he. Yeah, it's so much fun! We were only 4 people, for 6 hours. Plus the musician, of course, so in total 5, I guess. It's so nice to finally, like, feel... Because I've been doing the musical production improv, and it's not as fulfilling, I want to say, just because I can't really connect with them as easily as with the people who were... I think it's just because we're fewer. And this one I did yesterday, in comparison to the production course, which is like 10 or 11 at most, but typically around 10. It's hard to connect with so many more people. Just there are blank pages. No! Damn. We all get those kind of days. Dude. Speaking of blank pages, I have not been staring at blank pages. I've been staring at lots of non-blank pages. Magners. Charles Bukowski? Holy shit. When did I start reading this? Women. These women. I started... Wait. Did I not do that? It had to have been like... Let's see. Bukowski. not started. It had to have been. Oh, it didn't. Fuck. Frick. I started like 4 days ago, maybe. It's 300 or so, more than 300 pages. And I'm at 73%. Maybe 5 days, 5 or 6, maybe. Currently reading. Done. So much fun. I haven't written anything myself, though. I haven't even done journaling. Just because I kind of get sick of myself. I kind of get sick of myself in journaling. It's just the same thing over and over. Which is a shame, you know. 235 or so. Let's see. Why is it 291 pages there? Oh, weird. It's such a great book. Charles Bukowski is such an interesting writer. It's so vulgar, but like so human, so loving. Hey Jeb. Hej du banankycklingpizza som äter bäst. Äter bäst. Like a beast. I eat beasts. And I'm a banana chicken pizza. Banan. What was the last book you read? I'm about to call you Bukowski. What was the last book you read, Jib? You butt licker? I don't know why you are butt licker, but... Oh, manga does count, I guess. Well, maybe not reading, because it's more like... I guess you read faces too, on the art. 1,000 Splendid Suns. How come you don't read much? 1,000 Splendid... Oh, Khaled Hosseini. Probably pronounced that perfectly, right? Khaled Hosseini. I've been reading so fucking much lately. Just ever since I got almost dropped it. This tablet reader. It's so beautiful. So fantastic. Dude, I want to get paid for performing. I want to be paid, dude. What is 1,000 Suns about, Jib? It does become tiresome, because I'm like... I just write the same old thing over and over. Just struggling a little bit. That's fair. Yeah. I'm not bored of writing either. Or, not that I'm like... That sounded very defensive there. It's not like I'm bored of writing. I just get bored of myself. And writing about that. Yeah, that's gotta hurt. Oh yeah, I saw your tweet about that. How much did you lose? Do you have it all like on one thing? One not PDF. Document? Interesting, less accessible, huh? Like there is IMDb and my enemy list. Is there equivalent? Yeah, there is. Goodreads. That's what I use. Look, I'm just here, checking it out. I use Goodreads to... Goodreads is fantastic. To check for new books and... 10,000! Oh, ho, ho. Bro. Fuck. Ow. Huh. Oh, that's right. This was in May. Holy shit. Yeah, I can recommend Goodreads, Jib. It's not like oh no, you mean like you mean like available books that aren't you don't need to buy or whatever. Yeah. No, then this is not free books. I could send you some books though if you want. Like if you just ask me for books you want to read on your computer, get a tablet reader. You butthole. I'm just calling you butthole because that's what I feel like. Tablet readers make everything so easy. And yeah, do it. Scientific articles and research. Gross. That's good. I mean, being that you're a nurse, I feel like that's important, you know. I feel like I have to yell. Why do I feel like I have to yell? I feel like you can't hear me properly. Even though that's probably not true. You can hear me properly, right? I'm not like super quiet, am I? It's not like a super problem, is it? I feel like it is. But when he judged that they had reached the limits of safety, that any further beating would jeopardize the life of their prisoner, he gave the command to halt. Lord Xavius wants all alive, the scarred night elf snapped. We don't want him disappointed, do we? The others straightened, fear abruptly appearing in their eyes. Well, they might fear, he thought, for Lord Xavius had a tendency to reward carelessness with death. Painful, lingering death. And often he chose the willing hand of Varothen to deal out their death. We were careful, Captain Varothen, one of the soldiers quickly insisted. They will both survive the journey.
Nice.
Oh, my ears. Holy that was loud. Hey, Kevin. Nice. Ah! Now I'm loud. The captain nodded. It still amazed him how the Queen's counsel had even detected the presence of these unusual strangers. All Xavius had said when he had summoned faithful Varothen was that there had been some sort of odd manifestation, and that he wanted the captain to investigate and bring back anyone unusual discovered in the vicinity. Varothen, ever sharp-eyed, had noticed the slight furrowing of the Lord's brow, the only hint that Xavius was more disturbed about this unknown manifestation than he hinted. Varothen eyed the prisoners as their bound bodies were draped unceremoniously over one of the panthers. Whatever the counsellor had expected, it surely did not include a pair such as this. The weak one who had managed the last spell looked vaguely like a night elf, but his skin was pale, almost white. The other one, obviously a younger and far more talented spellcaster, Varothen did not know what to make of him. He was not unlike a night elf, but was clearly not. He looked like no creature the veteran soldier had ever seen. No matter, Lord Xavius will sort it all out. Varothen murmured to himself. Even if he has to tear them limb from limb, or flay them alive to get the truth. And whichever course the counsellor took, good, loyal Captain Varothen would be there to lend his experienced hand. How are you, Kevin? How's your butt? How's your butt face? 6. It was a troubled Malfurion who returned to his home near the Roaring Falls just beyond the large night elven settlement of Soramar. He had chosen the site because of the tranquility and untransformed nature around the falls. Nowhere else did he feel so at peace, save perhaps in Cenarius' hidden grove. A low set, rounded domicile formed from both the tree and earth. Malfurion's simple home was a far contrast from those of most night elves. Not for him was the gaudy array of colours that bespoke of his kind's tendency to try to outshine one another. The colours of his home were those of earth and life. The colours of his home were those of earth and life. The colours of his home were those of earth and life. I don't know, I read it twice and then thrice. The forest greens, the rich, fertile browns, and kindred shades. He tried to adapt to his surroundings, not force them to adapt to him, as was his people's way. Oh, by the way, Methalis. I've heard of an app called Obsidian that is super useful for for notes and stuff. You've probably heard of it because it's pretty popular amongst writers and note takers and what have you. Oh, that's good. Oh, that's some good water. Oh, you haven't? Cool. Yeah, Obsidian Notes, I think it's called. Yes, there it is. Sharpen your thinking. Here. Let me link it to you. Ta-da! It's pretty neat. You can have it on your phone as well. Connected to your whatever thing. Hey, no worries, no worries. I should use it myself too. And I was recommended by a D&D, one of my D&D players, months ago, probably like in the beginning of this year or so. It's pretty useful. Yet nothing about his home gave Malfurion any sense of comfort this night. Still fiercely clear in his mind were the thoughts and images he had experienced while walking the Emerald Dream. He had opened up doors in his imagination he wished desperately to shut again, but he knew would be impossible. The visions you see in the Emerald Dream, they can mean many things, Cenarius insisted. No matter how true they might look, even what we think is real, such as your view of Zinajari, may not be so, for the Dreamland plays its own games on our limited minds. Oh, World Anvil. Gotcha. Might be similar then to, from what I've heard. Oh yeah, didn't you, I think you sent it to me back when we first, connected. What is this? Sure. Oh yeah, that's right. Wait a minute. I never did do that. Fuck. I got just so distracted by everything. That's funny. That's stupid. Wait. Ruh. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Ba-da-da. Does this work? Oh, it does. Done. Ta-da! Ta-da! Check your email. This is Skyrim music. Ah, that's where it was. I want to remember you sent it to me personally as well. Let's see. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Why is it so slow? Dude, the outlook for Windows is so bad. Ah, there it is. Thank you. Beautiful. Okay. Woohoo! Nope, that's not it. Let's see. I don't want to edit. There it is. Ta-da! What? Oh, you bastard! Wait, let's do this real quick. Ta-da! Oh, wait, what? Oh, done. Do I need to click done? View side. View side. Yay! Frankenstein, or The Modern Prometheus. Oh, what terrible audio! By Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley. Oh, what terrible accent. But it was only when I had ceased to be in my power to derive its most important benefits from... Important? I have often attributed my attachment to, my passion. Apparition seemed to denote that it was not, in reality... It was not. That it was not. It was not. Crazy. I never saw a more interesting creature. His eyes have generally an expression of... Huh? Huh? Hey, look at that. Ta-da! I have a thing. Done. Do. What is that? Cool. I still gotta do that soon, but that's fine. Get out of here. Get out of here. Alright. Yeah, I don't know how I didn't make that like fucking 1,000 years ago. Good lord, it's free. It's so simple to use. I made it earlier today in like, I don't know, 30 minutes barely. Ugh, so stupid. The commercial demo's non-existent though. I want to redo the animation demo as well. Anyway, Malfurion knew that the demigod had only been trying to assuage him, that what the Night Elf saw had been truth. He understood that Cenarius was actually as concerned about the recklessness spellcasting taking place in the palace of Ajara as his student was. Card is nice. Oh, that's smart. Yeah, that's great. It's so easy to get that as a portfolio and then like link the whole thing to see it super clearly. Because that's all I had to do. Literally everything anyone's ever looking for from me in terms of services is just my demo. To be able to like be like, oh, this is what he does. The power that the Highborn had been summoning, what could it be for? Did they not sense how stressed the fabric of the world had grown near the well? It was still unfathomable to him that the Queen could condone such careless and possibly destructive work. And yet Malfurion could not shake the certainty that she was as much a part of it as any of her subordinates. Ajara was no simple figurehead. She truly ruled, even when it came to her arrogant Highborn. He tried to return to his normal routine, hoping that would help him forget his troubles. There were but 3 rooms to the young Night Elf's home, yet another example of the simplicity of his life compared to that of others. In one stood his bed and a handful of books and scrolls he had gathered concerning nature and his recent studies. In another, toward the back, was the larder and a small, plain table where he had prepared his meals. Malfurion considered both rooms nothing more than necessities. The third, the communal room, was ever his favourite place. Here, where the light of the moon shone bright at night, and the glistening waters of the falls could be seen, he sat in the centre and meditated. Here, with a sip of the honey-nectar wine so favoured by his kind, he looked over his work, and tried to comprehend what Cenarius had taught him the lesson before. Here, by the short ivory table, where a meal could be spread out, he also visited with Tyrande and Illidan. But there would be no Tyrande or Illidan this evening. Tyrande had returned to the Temple of Elune to continue her own studies, and Malfurion's twin, in what was another sign of their growing dissimilarities, now preferred the raucousness of Suramar to the serenity of the forest. Malfurion leaned back, his face agleam in the light of the moon. He shut his eyes to think, hoping to calm his nerves. No sooner had he done so, though, when something large moved across the field of moonlight, briefly putting Malfurion in total darkness. The Night Elf's eyes snapped open just in time to catch a glimpse of a huge, ominous form. Malfurion immediately leapt to the door and flung it open. But to his surprise, only the rushing waters of the nearby falls met his tense gaze. He stepped outside, peered around. Surely no creature so large could move so fast. The bullish tauren and ursine furbolgs were not unknown to him, but while they matched in size the peculiar shadow, neither of the two races was known for swiftness. A few branches rustled in the wind, and a night bird sang somewhere in the distance, but Malfurion could find no sign of a supposed intruder. Simply our own nerves. He finally chided himself. Your own uncertainties. Returning inside, Malfurion seated himself again, his mind already caught up once more in his troubles. Unlike his phantom intruder, he was certain that he had not imagined or misread anything concerning the palace and the well. Somehow Malfurion would have to learn more than the Emerald Dream could at present reveal to him. And, he suspected, he would have to do it very, very quickly. He had almost been caught. Like an infant barely able to walk, he had almost lumbered right into this creature's lair. Hardly a worthy display of the well-honed skills for which a veteran orc warrior is known. Brox had not worried about his ability to defend himself as the creature caught him, but now was not the time to give in to his own desire to make a glorious finish. Besides, from what he had seen of the lone figure, it would hardly have been a good match. Tall, but too spindly, too unprotected. Humans were much more interesting and worthy opponents. Not for the first time, his head throbbed. Brooks put a hand to his temple, fighting the pain. A swirling confusion reigned in his mind. What had happened to him in the past several hours? The orc still could not say with complete certainty. Instead of being ripped apart like a gas skull, as he had expected, he was catapulted into madness. Things beyond the comprehension of a simple warrior had materialized and vanished before his eyes, and Brock recalled flying around in a swirl of chaotic forces. All while countless voices and sounds had assailed him, almost to the point of deafness. In the end, it had all proven too much. Brooks had blacked out, certain he would never awake. He had, of course, but it was not to find himself safely back in the mountains, or still trapped in an insanity. Instead, Brox discovered himself in an almost tranquil landscape, consisting of tall trees and bucolic rolling hills for as far as the eye could see. The sun was setting, and the only sounds of life were the musical calls of birds. Even had he dropped into the midst of a horrendous battle, rather than this quiet scene, Brox could have done nothing but lay where he was. It had taken the orc more than an hour to recover enough to just stand, much less travel. Fortunately, during that anxious waiting time, Brox had discovered one miracle. His axe, which he thought lost, had been swallowed with him, and deposited but a few yards from York. Not yet able to use his legs, Brox dragged himself to the weapon. He had not been able to wield it, but clutching his handle had given him some comfort, while he waited for his strength to return. The moment he was able to walk, Brox had quickly pushed on. It did not pay to stay in one place when in a strange land, no matter how peaceful it looked. Situations always changed even in the most peaceful places, and, in his experience, generally not for the better. The orc tried to understand what had happened to him. He had heard of wizards travelling by means of special spells from one location to another, but if this was such a spell, then the mage who had cast it surely had to be insane. Either that, or the incantation had gone awry. Certainly a possibility. Alone and lost, Brox's instincts took over. No matter what had happened so far, Thrall would want him to find out more about the inhabitants of this place, and what their intentions might be. If they were responsible by accident, or design, for reaching out with magic to the other orcs' new homeland, they posed a possible threat. Brox could die later. His first duty was to protect his people. At least now he had some notion as to what race lived here. Brox had never seen or heard of a night elf before the war against the Burning Legion, but he could never forget their unique looks. Somehow he had landed in some realm ruled by their kind, which at least opened to him the hope of returning home once he gathered what information he could. The Night Elves had fought alongside the Orcs in Kalimdor. Surely that meant the Brox had merely ended up on some obscure part of the continent. With a little reconnaissance, he was certain that he would be able to figure out which direction the Orc lands were and head to them. Brox had no intention of simply going up to one of the Night Elves and asking the way. Even if these were the same creatures who had allied themselves with the Orcs and humans, he could not be certain that those of this land would be friendly to an intruder now. Until he knew more, the wary Orc intended to remain well out of sight. Although Brox did not immediately encounter any such dwellings, he did note a glow in the distance that likely originated from some larger settlement. After a moment's consideration, the Orc hefted his weapon and pushed on toward it. Barely had he made that decision, however, when shadows suddenly approached from the opposite direction. Pressing flat against a wide tree, Brox watched a pair of riders approach. His eyes narrowed in surprise when, instead of good horses, he saw that they raced along on swift, gigantic panthers. The Orc gritted his teeth and readied himself in case either the riders or their beasts sensed him. But the armored figures hurried past as if determined to be somewhere quickly. They appeared quite comfortable, traveling in a little light. Ah, of course. Brightness, yeah. Which made the Orc suddenly recall that Night Elves could see in darkness, as well as he could see in day. That did not bode well. Orcs had fair night vision, but not nearly as good as that of the Night Elves. He hefted his axe. Perhaps he did not have the advantage in terms of sight, but Brox would match himself against any of the scrawny figures he had so far come across. Day or night, an axe in the hands of an Orc warrior skilled in its use would make the same deep, fatal cut. Even the elaborate armor he noted on the riders would not long stand up to his beloved weapon. With the riders out of view, Brox continued on cautiously. He needed to find out more about these particular Night Elves, and the only way to do that was to spy on their settlement. There, he might find out enough to know in relation to whom he now wanted. Hey, Diablake! Buenas tardes, senor. That looked so weird. Why is your name completely lacking of anything? Dumb. Could you give me You're just green. I thought you were new, I thought you were new. A nunu banana. A nunu banana. Oh. Let's do that. While I'm here. Wallapalala. Walupulalu. That's fantastic. Text. No. No. Da 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 da. Holy shit. Da 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 da. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Da 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 la. La 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 la. Do do dee. Stop. That's fine. Because I am lacking of anything. You are lacking, my friend. I think not. I think you have all that you need. All that you require. Sometimes breathing is important for you. Oh shit, it's changed. Oh my, oh goodness me. Good to see you, Diabolic. I hope you're well. I hope you're not dead. I don't know what that means. What? What am I saying? Hello? How are you, Diabolic? How's life? How's not being dead? With the riders out of view, Brox continued on cautiously. He needed to find out more about these particular night elves, and the only way to do that was to spy on their settlement. There he might find out enough to know where in relation to whom he now wandered. Then he could return to Thrall. Thrall would know what to make of this. Thrall would deal with these night elves who dabbled in dangerous magic. So very, very simple. He blinked, so caught up in his thoughts that he only now saw standing before him the tall female figure clad in silver, moonlit robes. She looked as startled as the orc felt, and her mouth opened. The night elf cried out. Ah! Yeah, I had a feeling you were not in the UK. Where are you this time, my friend? What have you gone? Where have you gone? What country dost thou boast? Brock started to reach for her, his only intention that of smothering the scream, but before he could do anything, the other cries arose, and night elves began appearing from every direction. A part of him decided to stand where he was and fight to the death, but the other part, that which served Thrall, reminded him that this would achieve nothing. He would have failed in his mission, failed his people. With a snarl of outrage, she turned and fled back in the direction he had come. Yeah, España. That's fantastic. Amazing. How long have you been there now? Horns bled. Nope. With a snarl of outrage, she turned and fled back in the direction he had come. Yet now, it seemed that from every huge tree trunk, from every rising mound, figures popped into sight, and each let out the alarm at the sight of the burly orc. Horns blared. Brox swore, knowing what such a sound presaged. Sure enough, moments later, he heard feline growls and determined shouts. Glancing over his shoulder, he saw his pursuers nearing. Unlike the pair he had hidden from earlier, most of the new riders were clad only in robes and breastplates, but that hardly raised them as a threat. Each was not only armed, but their mounts presented an even more dire danger. One swipe of a paw would slice the orc open. One bite to the saber-toothed jaws would rip off his head. Brox wanted to take his axe and sweep across their ranks, chopping away at riders and mounts alike, and leaving a trail of blood and maimed bodies behind him. Yet, despite his desire to lay waste to those who threatened him, Thrall's teachings and commands held such violence in check. Brox growled and met the first riders with the flat of his axe head. He knocked one night elf from his mount, then, after dodging the cat's claws, turned to seize another rider by the leg. The orc threw the second night elf atop the first, knocking the air out of both. A blade whistled by his head. Brox easily smashed the slim blade to fragments with his powerful axe. The night elf wisely retreated, the stump of his weapon still gripped tightly. The orc took advantage of the gap created by the retreat to slip past his pursuers. Some of the night elves did not look at all eager to follow, which raised Brox's spirits. More than his own honor, Thrall's pride in his chosen warrior continued to keep Brox from turning and making a foolish last stand. He would not let his chief down. But, just as escape looked possible, another night elf materialized before him. This one dressed in shimmering robes of brilliant green with gold and ruby starbusts. Bursts. Busts? Starbusts? Never mind. Dotting the chest. A cow obscured most of the night elf's long, narrow visage, but he seemed undaunted by the huge, brutish orc coming up on him. I feel like this is Illidan. This has to be Illidan. I know it. Brox waved his hand and shouted, trying to scare off the night elf. The hooded figure raised one hand to chest level. No. The index and middle fingers pointed toward the sky. Oh, cool. Duh. The orc recognized the spell being cast, but by that time it was already too late. To his astonishment, a circular sliver of the moon fell from the sky, falling upon Brox like a soft, misty blanket. As it enshrouded him, the orc's arms grew heavy and his legs weak. He had to fight to keep his eyelids open. Oh, this is moon. What's it called? No, I don't know. I can't remember. The axe slipping from his limp grasp. Brox fell to his knees. Through the silvery haze, he now saw other similarly clad figures circling him. The hooded form stood patiently, obviously watching the spell's work. A sense of fury ignited Brox. With a low snarl, "Arr! Arr!" he managed to push himself up to his feet. This was not the glorious death he had wanted. The Night Elves intended that he fall at their feet like a helpless infant. He would not do it. He would not do it. Fumbling fingers managed to seize the axe again. To his pleasure, the noted some of the hooded figures start. He had not expected such resistance. But as he tried to raise his weapon, a second silvery veil settled over him. What strength Brox had summoned vanished again. When the axe fell this time, he knew he would be unable to retrieve it. The orc took one wobbly
Penis
step.
points.
Fucking shit. Penis points. Hey, Joe. When the axe fell this time, he knew he would be unable to retrieve it. Those points, those valuable. The orc took one wobbly step and fell forward. Even then, Brox tried to crawl toward his foes, determined not to make their victory an easy one. A third veil dropped over him, and Brox blacked out. Oh. Nice, that's great. How's your back?
It's not been blown out, has it?
I'm doing good. Doing alright. Doing well, doing well, doing well. Doing swell. Oh, do you know what? This is not where it should be. That looks better. Sure, that's fine. No, it doesn't look better, but that's fine. Damn it. Ball sack. Me. What? Shoe lift, sick. Wait, that means you have to always wear shoes, doesn't it? That sucks. I know. My improv teacher has the same problem too. That her hip is like tilted, but she seems fine now. In the past, there's lots of trouble. I just had to check. 3 nights. 3 nights and still nothing to show for our efforts. Xavier was not pleased. 3 of the highborn sorcerers stepped back from the continual spellwork. I hate when I burp so fucking much! They were immediately replaced by those who had managed to replenish their strength with some overdue rest. Xavier's false black eyes turned to the 3 who had just finished. One of them noticed the dark orbs gazing in their direction and cringed. The highborn might be the most glorious of the Queen's servants, but Lord Xavier's was the most glorious and dangerous of the highborn. Have I ruined it? I have. It's broken, bastard. My sacrum. What's that? What does that mean? Your sacrum wasn't seesawing? You need 1 point... Oh, a quarter of an inch. Wow. I'd imagine that still does, even, like, despite this small difference. But it does makes a huge difference. Gotcha, your tailbone.
Ouchies pouchies.
Tomorrow night. Tomorrow night we shall increase the field of power tenfold, he declared, the crimson streaks in his eyes flaring. Unable to meet his gaze, one of the other highborn nonetheless dared say, "With all due respect, my lord Xavius, that risks much. Such an additional increase may destabilize all we've already accomplished." "And what is that, Perothon? 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 What a name." Xavius loomed over the other robed figures, his shadow seeming to move of its own accord in the mad light of the spell. "What have we accomplished?" "Why, we command more power than any night elf has ever commanded before." Xavius nodded, then frowned. "Yes, and with it we can squash an insect with a mountain-sized hammer. You are a short-sighted fool, Perothon. Consider yourself fortunate that your skill is demanded for this effort." Clamping his mouth shut, the other night elf bowed his head gratefully. The Queen's counselor looked with disdain upon the rest of the highborn. "What we seek to do, we need perfect manipulation of the well to accomplish." "How can you see into my eyes like open doors, leading you down into the..." Do you hear it from the piano? You probably can't hear the piano that well. "Where I become so numb." "We must have the ability to slay the insect without its even realizing the death until after the fact. We must have such precision, such a fine touch, that there will be no question as to the perfect execution of our final goal. We..." "Preaching again, my darling Xavius?" Oh no. The melodic voice would have enchanted any of the other night highborn into killing themselves if it would please the speaker, but not so the onyx-eyed Xavius. With a careless gesture, Evan's essence. You do hear it. Oh, that's cool. Nice. With a careless gesture, he dismissed the wary spellcasters, then turned to the one person in the place who did not rightly show him the respect he deserved. She glittered as she entered, a vision of perfection that his magical orbs amplified. She was the glory of the Night Elves, their beloved mistress. When she breathed, she made the crowds breathless. When she touched the cheek of a favorite warrior, he went out and willingly fought dragons, and more, even if it meant his certain destruction. The Queen of the Night Elves was tall for a female, taller than even many males. Only Xavius truly towered above her. Yet, despite her height, she moved like the wind, silent, grace with every step. No cat walked as silently as Ajara, and none walked with as much confidence. Her deep, violet skin was as smooth as the almost sheer silk garment she wore. Her hair, long, thick, lush, and moonlight silver, cascaded down around her shoulders and artfully curved backside. In contrast to her previous visit, when she had matched her garments to her eyes, she now wore a flowing gown, the same wondrous color as her luxurious hair. Even Xavius secretly desired her, but on his own terms. His ambitions drove him far more than her wiles ever could. Still, he found much use in her presence, just as he knew she found the same in his. They shared an ultimate objective, but with differing rewards for each waiting at the end. When that goal was finally reached, Xavius would show Ajara who truly ruled. "Light of the moon," he began, expression obedient. "I preach only of your purity, your flawlessness. These others I simply remind of their duty, nay, of their love for you. They should not, therefore, wish to fail, for they would be failing you as well, my darling counselor." Behind the stunning queen, two handmaidens carried the train of her long, translucent gown. They shifted the train to the side, as Ajara seated herself on the special chair she had made the highborn erect. they shifted the train to the side as Ajara seated herself on the special chair she had made. The highborn erect, so that she could watch their efforts in comfort. Oh, I just realized I stopped. I made the highborn erect. I didn't even realize. Fuck. I was just trying to figure out the sentence. On the special chair she had made, the highborn erect so that she could watch their efforts in comfort. I feel like there should be a period. Up, after this. Sound it out, buddy. And I think they fear that more than they love me. Hardly, my mistress. The queen positioned herself to gaze upon the struggling spellcasters, her gown shifting to best display her perfect form. Her perfect. Xavius remained unmoved by her maneuver. He would have her and whatever else he desired after they had succeeded in their great mission. A sudden flash of blazing light drew the eyes of both to the work of the sorcerers. Hovering in the center of the circle created by the Highborn, a furious ball of energy continually remade itself. Its myriad displays had a hypnotic effect, and great, part because they often seemed to be opening up a doorway into elsewhere. Xavius especially spent long hours staring into the Night Elf's creation, seeing with his own artificial eyes. Artificial eyes? What none of the others could. Something's wrong. Watching now, the counselor wrinkled his brow. He squinted, studying the endless depths within. For just the briefest of moments, he could have sworn that he had seen. I believe you are not listening to me, darling Xavius. Is that at all possible? He managed to recover. As possible is living without breathing, daughter of the moon. But I admit I was distracted enough that I may not have understood clearly. You said again something about... A brief, throaty chuckle escaped Queen Ajara, but she did not contradict him. What is there to understand? I simply restated that surely we must soon triumph. Soon we shall have the power and the ability to cleanse our land of its imperfections, create of it the perfect paradise. So it shall be, my queen. So it shall be. We are but a short time from the creation of a grand golden age. The realm, your realm, will be purified. The world will know everlasting glory. Xavius allowed himself a slight smile. And the blighted, impure races that in the past have prevented such perfect age from issuing forth will cease to be. Jara rewarded his good words with a pleased smile of her own, then said, I am glad to hear you say that it will be soon. I have had more supplicants today, Lord Counsellor. They came in fear of the violence in and around the Great Well. They asked me for guidance as to its cause and danger. Naturally, I referred their requests to you. As you rightly should have, mistress. I will assuage their fears long enough for our precious task to come to fruition. After that, it will be your pleasure to announce what has been done for the good of your people. And they shall love me the more for it. Ajara murmured, her eyes narrowed as if imagining her grateful crowds. If they could possibly love you any more than they do already, my glorious queen. Ajara accepted his compliment with a momentary lowering of her slitted eyes. Then, with a smooth grace of which only she was capable, rose from the chair. Her attendants quickly manipulated the train of her gown so that it would not, in the slightest, hamper her movements. I will make the wondrous announcement soon, Lord Xavius, she declared, turning away from the counselor. See to it that all is ready when I do. It will consume my waking hours, he replied, bowing to her retreating form, and be the dreams of my slumber. But the moment she and her attendants had departed, a deep frown crossed the councillor's cold visage. He signalled to one of the stone-faced guards ever standing duty at the entrance of the chamber. If I am not alerted before the next time Her Majesty decides to join us, it will be your head. Is that understood?
Yes, my lord,
the guard returned, expression never wavering. And they shall love me the more for it. Nope. That was backwards. I also expect to be notified of Captain Varro Thane's arrival before Her Majesty. His task is nothing with which to sully her hands. Make certain that the captain, and whatever he brings with him, is led directly to me.
Yes, my lord.
Dismissing the guard, Xavius returned to the task of overseeing the Highborn's spellwork. A lattice of dancing magical energy now enshrouded the fiery sphere, which continued to remake itself. As Xavius watched, the sphere folded it within, almost as if it attempted to devour itself.
Fascinating. Fascinating.
He whispered. This close, the Lord Councillor could feel the intense emanations, the barely bound forces summoned up from the source of all the Night Elves' magical might. It had been Xavius who had first suspected that his kind had only so far skimmed the surface of the Dark Water's potential. The Well of Eternity was aptly named, for the more he studied it, the more he realized that its bounty was endless. The physical dimensions of the well were only a trick of the limited mind. The true well existed in 1,000 dimensions, 1,000 places simultaneously. And from every aspect of it, every variation of it, the Highborn would learn to draw whatever they pleased. The potential staggered even him. Energies and colors unseen even by the others danced and fought before Xavier's magical eyes. They drew him in, their elemental power seductive. The Lord Councillor drank in the fantastic sight before him. But from within, from deep beyond the physical world, he suddenly felt something stare back. This time the Night Elf knew he was not mistaken. Xavier sensed a presence, a distant presence. Yet, despite that incredible distance, the might he also sensed was staggering. He tried to pull back, but it was already too late. Deep, so very deep, within the captured energies of the well, the mind of the Councillor was suddenly dragged beyond the edge of reality, beyond eternity, until...
I have searched long for you,
came the voice. It was life, death, creation, destruction, and power infinite. Had he even desired to do so, Xavius would have been unable to wrench his eyes away from the abyss within. Other eyes now snared his tightly. The eyes of the Lord's Councillors knew God.
And now you have come to me.
The waters bubbled, as if boiling. Great waves rose and crashed down, time and time again. Lightning flashed from both the heavens and the dark well. Then came the whispers. The first of the Night Elves to hear them thought the sounds only the wild wind. They soon ignored them completely, more concerned with the possible devastation of their elegant homes. A few more astute, more attuned to the well's unearthly energies, heard them for what they were. Voices from the well itself. But what the voices said, even the majority of those could not say. It was the one or two who heard clearly who truly feared, yet did not speak of their fear to others, lest they be branded mad and cast out from their society. Thus they failed to heed the only warning they would truly get. The voices spoke of nothing but hunger. They hungered for everything. Life, energy, souls. They wanted through to the world, through to the Night Elf's pristine realm. And once there, they would devour it. Thank you. Do you guys have anything in your desk that you always play with when you're at your desk or whatever you are, wherever you do stuff, like in your couch or in a bed or something? I have this that I just keep twisting. It keeps rolling or spinning like a thing. Oh, like a weed. You play with weed. What? I guess that helps to not have to play with anything. I wonder sometimes if I have a form of ADD. Ow. I feel like reading Bukowski. I can't say I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. Oh, that's so nice. Oh, I want to have that too. Kitsy cats. The silly billies. Those fluffy kins. Oh. So I was surprised when the phone rang a couple of nights later, and it was Cassie. I'm gonna read some Charles Bukowski. Be prepared for its vulgarity, okay? Because I'm not gonna censor it. I love reading this. What are you doing, Hank? Sitting around. Why don't you come over? I'd like to. She gave me the address. It was either Westwood or West LA. I've plenty to drink, she said. You needn't bring anything. Maybe I shouldn't drink anything. It's all right. If you pour it, I'll drink it. If you don't, I won't. Don't worry about it, she said. I got dressed, jumped into the Volks, and drove to the address. How many breaks did a man have coming? The gods were good to me of late. Maybe it was a test. Maybe it was a trick. Fatten Chinaski up, then slice him in half. I knew they might be coming too. But what can you do after a couple of 8 counts with only 2 rounds left to go? Cassie's apartment was on the 2nd floor. She seemed glad to see me. A large black dog leapt on me. He was huge and floppy and male. He stood with his paws on my shoulders and licked my face. I pushed him off. He stood there wiggling his butt and making begging sounds. He had long black hair and appeared to be a mongrel, but what a big one he was. That's Elton, said Cassie. She went to the refrigerator and got the wine. This is what you should drink. I've got plenty of it. Oh, jeez. I would have liked to have been able to say. Amazing. Wait, can I do this? Can I do it? La 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 la. Do 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 do. He's multiplying. Multiplying. Multiply. Multi-apply. Yo, it's 3 of me. 3 of you. What you gotta do? Wow, it looks at this part on the second one, the middle one, it looks like it fits perfectly when I'm sitting normally. You know, it looks like it's a part of the things in the back. Amazing. Fidget toys, yeah. I feel like I need something like that, you know? I would have loved to have a stress ball to squeeze, a squeezer baller. I'm a virus. You must kiss me, then I will spread along to you. She was dressed in an all-green gown which clung tightly to her. She was like a snake. She had on shoes with sequined with green stones, and once again I noticed how long her hair was. Not only long, but full. There was such a mass of it. It came down at least to her ass. Her eyes were large and blue-green, sometimes more blue than green, sometimes the other way around, depending on how the light hit them. I noticed 2 of my books in her bookcase, 2 of the better ones. Cassie sat down, opened the wine and poured 2. We kind of met somehow during the last encounter. We touched on me. I didn't want to let it go, she said. I enjoyed it, I said. Want an upper? All right, I said. She brought out 2. Black cap, the best. I set mine down on the wine. I've got the best dealer in town. He doesn't rip me off, she said. Good. You ever been hooked? She asked. I tried coke for a while, but I couldn't stand to come down. I was afraid to go into the kitchen the next day because there was a butcher knife in there. Besides, $50 to $75 a day is beyond me. I've got some coke? No, I'll pass. She poured more wine. I don't know why, but with each new woman it seemed like the first time, almost as if I'd never been with a woman before. I kissed Cassie. As I kissed her, I let one hand run through all that long hair. Want some music? No, not really. You knew D.D. Bronson, didn't you? Cassie asked. Yes, we split. Yeah, hand gripper thing. I have those here, but I can't use them because my forearms become too strong for the rest of my things, which is annoying. And so I get tendinitis in my left arm. It's not great. Singing in the rain. You heard what happened to her? No. First she lost her job, then she went to Mexico. Then she met a retired bullfighter. The bullfighter beat the shit out of her and took her life savings. $7,000. Get stronger ones? Poor Dee Dee. From me to that. Cassie got up. I watched her walk across the room. Her arse moved and shimmered under that tight green gown. She came back with papers and some grass. She rolled a joint. Then she got in a car crash. She never could drive. Do you know her well? No, but we hear things in the industry. Just living until you die is hard work, I said. Cassie passed the joint. Your life seems in order, she said. Really? I mean, you don't come on or try to impress like some men, and you seem naturally funny. I like your ass and hair, I said, and your lips and your eyes and your wine and your place and your joints, but I'm not an order. You write a lot about women. I know. I wonder sometimes what I'll write about after that. Maybe it won't stop. Everything stops. Let me have some of that joint. Sure, Cassie. She took a hit and then I kissed her. I pulled her hair back by the hair. I pulled her head back by the ear. I forced her lips open. It was a long one. Then I let her go. You like that, don't you? She asked. To me, it's more personal and sexual than fucking. I think you're right, she said. We smoked and drank for several hours, then went to bed. We kissed and played. I was good. And hard and stroked her well. But after 10 minutes, I knew I wasn't going to make it. Too much to drink again. I began to sweat. I stroked some more and rolled off. I'm sorry, Cassie. I watched her head move down to my penis. It was still hard. She began licking it. The dog jumped up on the bed and I kicked him off. Fucking dog wants to join. I watched Cassie licking my cock. The moonlight came through the window and I could see it clearly. She took the end of my dick in her mouth and just nibbled at it. This is a bit raunchy, isn't it? Surely, suddenly she went for it all, and she worked well, running her tongue up and down the length of my cock as she sucked. It's glorious. Yeah, this is not what I'm used to reading. Oh, I'm getting red in the face. This is funny. It was glorious. Let me have some water to cool down. Maybe not the best book to read on stream. Let's go on a little bit more. See how it goes, alright? I reached down and grabbed her hair with one hand and held it up. Held it high over her head, all that hair, as she sucked. It lasted a long time, but I finally could feel myself getting ready. She sensed it too, and redoubled her efforts. I began making whimpering sounds, and I could hear the big dog whimpering on the rug along with me. I liked that. I held back as long as I could to prolong the pleasure. Then, still holding and caressing her hair, I exploded in her mouth. When I awakened the next morning, Cassie was getting dressed. "That's all right," she said. "You can stay. Just be sure you lock the door when you leave." "All right." After she left, I took a shower. Cold shower. Then I found the beer in the refrigerator. Drank that, dressed, said goodbye to Elton, made sure the door was locked, got into the Volks and drove back home. 3 or 4 days later, I found a note and phoned Deborah. She said, "Come on over." She gave me directions to Playa del Rey. Playa del Rey. And I drove over. She had a small rented house with a front yard. I drove into the front yard, got out of the car and knocked, then rang. It was one of those two-tone bells. Deborah opened the door. She was as I remembered her, with enormous lipstick mouth, short hairdo, bright earrings, perfume, and almost that wide smile. Almost always that wide smile. "Oh, come in, Henry." I did. There was a guy sitting there, but he was obviously homosexual, so it wasn't really in the front. "This is Larry, my neighbour. He lives in the house and back." We shook hands and I sat down. "Is there anything to drink?" I asked. "Oh, Henry." "I can go get something." I would have, only I didn't know what she wanted. "Oh, I have something." Deborah went into the kitchen. "How are you doing?" I asked Larry. "I haven't been doing well, but I'm doing better. I'm into self-hypnosis. It's done marvels for me." "Do you want anything to drink, Larry?" asked Deborah from the kitchen. "Oh, no, thanks." Deborah came out with 2 glasses of red wine. Deborah's house was over-decorated. There was something everywhere. It was expensively cluttered, and there seemed to be rock music coming from every direction, out of little speakers. "Larry's practicing self-hypnosis," he told me. "You don't know how much better I'm sleeping. You don't know how much better I'm relating." That was Larry. Never mind. "Do you think everybody should try it?" asked Deborah. "Well, it would be difficult to say, but I do know that it works for me." "I'm throwing a Halloween party, Henry. Everybody's coming. Why don't you join us? What do you think you would come as, Larry?" They both looked at me. "Well, I don't know," said Larry. "Really, I don't know. Maybe... I don't think so." The doorbell bing-bonged. Deborah went to open it. It was another homosexual without a shirt on. He had on wolf's mask with a big rubber tongue hanging out of the mouth. He seemed testy and depressed. "Vincent, this is Henry. Henry, this is Vincent." Vincent ignored me. He just stood there with his rubber tongue. "I had a horrible day at work. I can't stand it here anymore. I think I'll quit." "But Vincent, what would you do?" Deborah asked him. "I don't know, but I can do a lot of things. I don't have to eat shit. He's a furry. But I don't have to eat their shit." "You're coming to the party, aren't you, Vincent?" "Of course. I've been preparing for days." "Have you memorised your lines for the play?" "Yes, but this time I think we should do the play before we do the games. Last time, before we got to the play, we were all so smashed we didn't do the play justice." "All right, Vincent. We'll do it that way." With that, Vincent, and his tongue turned, his and walked out the door. Larry stood up. Well, I must be going too. Nice to meet you, he said to me. All right, Larry. We shook hands, and Larry walked through the kitchen and out the back door to his place. Are all homosexuals obvious in this place? Obviously. Larry's been a great help to me. He's a good neighbour. I'm glad you were nice to him. It was alright. Hell, he was here before I was. We don't have sex. Neither do we. You know what I mean. I gotta get you something to drink. Henry, I've plenty of everything. I knew you were coming. Deborah refilled our glasses. I looked at her. She was young, but she looked as if she was straight out of the 1930s. She wore a black skirt that came down halfway, between her knee and ankle, black shoes with high heels, a white-necked blouse, a necklace, earrings, bracelets, a lipstick mouth, plenty of rouge, perfume. She was well built, with nice breasts and buttocks, and she wore them as she walked. She swung them as she walked. She kept lighting cigarettes. There were lipstick-smeared butts everywhere. I felt sure I was back in my boyhood. She even didn't wear pantyhose, and now and then she tugged at her long stockings, showing just enough leg, just enough knee. She was the kind of girl that our fathers loved. She told me about her business. It had something to do with court transcripts and lawyers. It drove her crazy, but she was making a good living. Sometimes I get very snappish with my help, but then I get over it and they forgive me. You just don't know what those goddamn lawyers are like. I want everything immediately, and they don't think about the time it takes to do it. Lawyers and doctors are the most overpaid, spoiled members of our society. Next in line is your corner garage mechanic. You might throw in your dentist. Deborah crossed her legs, and her skirt hiked up. You have very nice legs, Deborah, and you know how to dress. You remind me of the girls on my Mother's Day. That's when women were women. You've got a great lawn, Henry. You know what I mean. It's especially true of LA. Once not long ago, I left town and I returned. And when I returned, do you know how I knew I was back? Well, no. It was the first woman I passed on the street. She had on a skirt so short she saw the crotch of her panties, and through the front of the panties, pardon me, you could see her cunt hairs. I knew I was back in LA. Where were you? On Main Street? Main Street, hell. It was Beverly in Fairfax. Do you like the wine? Yes, and I like your place. I might even move in there. My landlord's jealous. Anybody else who might be jealous? No. Why? I work hard, and I just like to come home and relax an evening. I like to decorate this place. My girlfriend, she works for me, and I are going to antique shops tomorrow morning. Do you want to come along? Will I be here in the morning? Deborah didn't answer. She poured me another drink and sat beside me on the couch. I leaned over and kissed her. As I did, I pulled her skirt further back and picked at that nylon leg. It looked good. When we finished kissing, she pulled her skirt down again, but I'd already memorised the leg. She got up and went to the bathroom. I heard the toilet flush, and there was a wait. She was probably applying more lipstick. I took out my hanky and wiped my mouth. The hanky came away smeared with red. I was finally getting everything the boys in high school had gotten. The rich, pretty, well-dressed golden boys with their new automobiles, and me with my sloppy old clothes and burnt, broken-down bicycle. Deborah walked out. I sat down and lit a cigarette. Let's fuck, I said. Deborah walked into the bedroom. There was half a bottle of wine left on the coffee table. I poured myself a drink and lit one of her cigarettes. She turned off the rock music. That was nice. It was quiet. I poured another drink. Maybe I could move in. Where would I put the typewriter? Henry? What? Where are you? Right, I just want to finish this drink. Alright. I finished the glass and then poured down what was left in the bottle. I was in Playa del Rey. I undressed, leaving my clothes in my messy pile on the couch. I had never been a dresser. My shirts were all faded and shrunken, 5 or 6 years old, threadbare. Relatable? My pants the same. I hated the department stores. I hated the clerks. They acted so superior. They seemed to know the secret of life. They had a confidence I didn't possess. My shoes were always broken down and old. I disliked the shoe stores too. I never purchased anything until it was completely unusable, and that included automobiles. It wasn't a matter of thrift. I just couldn't bear to be a buyer, needing a seller. Seller being so handsome and aloof and superior. Besides, it all took time. Time when you could just be laying around and drinking. Look at our screen. 3. It's me. I walked into the bedroom with just my shorts on. I was conscious of my white belly lolling out of the shorts, but no, I made no effort to suck it in. To suck in my gut. I stood by the side of the bed, lowered my shorts, stepped out of them. Suddenly I wanted more to drink. I climbed into the bed. I got under the covers. Then I turned toward Deborah. I held her. We were pressed together. Her mouth was open. I kissed her. Her mouth was like a wet cunt. She was ready. I sensed it. There'd been no need of foreplay. I kissed, and her tongue flicked in and out of my mouth. I caught it between my teeth, held it. Then I rolled over on top of Deborah. I think it was the way her head was turned away to one side. It turned me on. Her head was turned away and bounced on the pillow. Oops. Wait, what am I clicking? With each stroke. No, and then as I stroked, I turned her head toward me and kissed the blood red mouth. It was finally working for me. I was fucking all the women and girls I'd gazed longingly after on the sidewalks of Los Angeles in 1937. The last really bad year of the Depression, when a piece of ass cost $2 and nobody had any money. Or hope at all. I had to wait a long time for mine. I worked and pumped. I was having a red hot useless fuck. I grabbed Deborah's head once again. Raised that lipstick. Mouth just one more time as I spurted into her diaphragm. It hadn't even 10 minutes. To be fair, I'm not starting from the beginning. This is currently chapter 90. This is how it looked. But yeah, it's about women. So there's a lot of this. But it's surprisingly human. It's holy shit, what happened to that? There, that's better. It's surprisingly human and yeah. Quite realistic, really. Yeah, true. The next day was Saturday, and Deborah cooked us breakfast. Are you coming antique hunting with us today? Alright. Alright. Are you hungover? She asked. Not too bad. We ate in silence for a while. And then she said, I like you're reading at the Lancer. You were drunk, but it came through. Sometimes it doesn't. When are you going to read again? Somebody's been phoning from Canada. They're trying to raise funds. Canada? Can I go with you? We'll see. Are you staying tonight? Do you want me to? Yes. Well, then. I will then. Great. We finished breakfast, and I went to the bathroom while Deborah did the dishes. I flashed and whopped, flashed again, washed my hands, came out. Deborah was cleaning up at the sink. I grabbed it from behind. You can use my toothbrush if you want, she said. Is my breath bad? It's alright. Like hell. You can also shower if you want. That too. Stop it. Desi won't be here for an hour. You can clear away the cobwebs. I went and let the bathwater run. The only time I liked the shower was in a motel. In the bathroom there was a photo of a man on the wall. Dark, long hair, standard, handsome face run through with the usual idiocy. He smiled white teeth at me. I brushed what was left of my discoloured teeth. Deborah had mentioned that her ex-husband was a shrink. Deborah showered after I was through. I poured myself a small glass of wine and sat in a chair looking out of the front window. Suddenly I remembered that I'd forgotten to mail my ex-woman her child support money. Oh well, I'll do Monday. I felt peaceful in Playa del Rey. It was good to get out of the crowded, dirty court where I lived. There was no shade, and the sun beat down mercilessly on us. We were all insane one way or another. Even the dogs and the cats were insane, and the birds and the newsboys and the hookers. For us, in East Hollywood, the toilets never worked properly, and the landlord's cut-rate plumber could never quite fix them. We left the tank lids off and hand-manipulated the plunger. The faucets dripped, the roaches crawled, the dogs crept everywhere, and the screens had large holes in them that let in flies and all manner of strange flying insects. The bell bing-bonged, and I got up and opened the door. It was Tessie. She was in her 40s, a swinger, Swinger, a redhead with obviously dyed hair. You're Henry, aren't you? Yes, Deborah's in the bathroom. Please sit down. She had on short red skirts. Her thighs were good. Her ankles and calves weren't bad either. She looked like she loved to fuck. I walked to the bathroom and knocked on the door. Deborah, Tessie's here. The first antique store was a block. The first antique store was a block or two from the water. We drove down in the Vaux and went in. I walked around with them. Everything was priced $800, $1,500. Old clocks, old chairs, old tables. The prices were unbelievable. 2 or 3 clerks stood around and brushed their hands. They evidently worked on salary plus commission. The owner certainly located the items for almost nothing in Europe or the Ozark Mountains. I got bored looking at huge price tags. I told the girls I'd wait in the car. Swinger. I know how to pronounce that properly. Swinger. I found a bar across the street, went in, sat down. I ordered a bottle of beer. The bar was full of young men, mostly under 25. The blonde, they were blonde and slim, or dark and slim, dressed in perfectly fitting slacks and shirts. They were expressionless and undisturbed. There were no women. A large television set was on. There was no sound. Nobody watched it. Nobody spoke. I finished my beer and left. I found a liquor store and got a 6-pack. I went back to the car and sat there. The beer was good. The car was parked in the lot in the back of the antique store. The street to my left was backed up with traffic, and I watched the people waiting patiently in the cars. It was, finally, for everyone, a matter of waiting. You waited, and you waited. For the hospital, the doctor, the plumber, the madhouse, the jail, Papa Death himself. First, the signal was red. Then, the signal was green. The citizens of the world ate food and watched TV, worried about their jobs or their lack of same, while they waited. I began to think about Deborah and Tessie in the antique shop. I really didn't like Deborah, but there I was, entering her life. It made me feel like a peep freak. I sat, drinking the beer. I was down to the last can, when they finally came out. Oh, Henry, said Deborah. I found the nicest marble top table for only $200. It's really fabulous, said Tessie. Yeah, what a great voice. They climbed into the car. Deborah pressed her leg against mine. Have you been bored with all this? She asked. They started the engine and drove to a liquor store and bought 3 or 4 bottles of wine, cigarettes. That bitch Tessie in her short red skirt with her nylons, I thought to myself as I paid the liquor store man. I'll bet she had done in at least a dozen good men without even thinking about it. I decided the problem was not thinking. She didn't like to think. And that was all right, because there weren't any laws or rules about it. But when she reached 50 in a few years, she'd begin to think, and she'd be a better woman in the supermarket, jamming her shopping carts into people's backs and ankles in the checkout line, with dark shades on, her face puffed and unhappy. A cart filled with cottage cheese, potato chips, pork chops, red onions, and a quart of Jim Beam. I went back to the car and drove to Deborah's place. The girl sat down. I opened a bottle and poured 3 glasses. Henry, said Deborah, I'm going to get Larry. He'll drive me down in his van to pick up my table. You needn't enjoy that, aren't you, lad? Yes. Tessie will keep you company. All right. You two behave yourself now. Larry came in through the back door, and he and Deborah walked out the front. Larry warmed up the van, and they drove off. What a difference it is when I'm leaned forward and back with the camera, just noticing on my other monitor. Larry came in through the back door, and he and Deborah walked out the front. Larry warmed up the van, and they drove off. Well, we're alone? Oh, well, we're alone, I said. Yeah, said Tessie. She sat very still, looking straight ahead. I finished my drink and went to the bathroom to take a piss. When I came out, Tessie was still sitting quietly on the couch. I walked along behind the couch. When I reached her, I took her under the chin and tipped her face up. I pressed my mouth against hers. She had a very large head. She had purple makeup smeared under her eyes, and she smelled like stale fruit juice. Apricots. She had thin silver chains dangling from each ear, and at the end of each chain hung one ball. Symbolic. As we kissed, I reached down into her blouse. I found her breast and cut my hand on it and rolled it around. No brasserie. Brasserie? Wow. That's not a word you see often. Then I straightened up and pulled my hand away. A brasserie. Bodies. Cool. I walked around the couch and sat down next to her. I poured 2 drinks. For an ugly son of a bitch, you've got a lot of balls, she said. How about a quickie before Deborah gets back? No. Don't hate me. I'm just trying to enliven the party. I think you stepped out of bounds. What you just did was gross and obvious. I guess I lack imagination. And you're a writer. Yeah, I write, but I mostly I take photographs. Oh, I think you fuck women just in order to write about fucking them. I don't know. I think you do. Okay, forget it. Drink up. Brazier. Brazier. It's a fire. Body's fire. Fire. Body's fire. Tessie went back to a drink. She finished it and put the cigarette down. She looked at me, blinking her long false eyelashes. She was like Deborah, with a big lipstick mouth. Only Deborah's mouth was darker and didn't glisten as much. Tessie's was a bright red and her lips glistened. She held her mouth open, continually licking her lower lip. Suddenly, Tessie grabbed me. Her mouth opened over my mouth. It was exciting. I felt as if I was being raped. My cock began to rise. I reached down while she was kissing me and flipped her skirt back. I ran my hand up her left legs, continued to kiss. Come on, I said after the kiss. I took her by the hand and led her into Deborah's bedroom. I pushed her down on the bed. The bedspread was on. Put off my shoes and pants and pulled off her shoes off. I kissed her a long one, and then pulled the red skirt off over her ribs. My pantyhose, nylons and pink panties. I pulled her panties off. Tessie had her eyes closed. Somewhere in the neighbourhood, I could hear a stereo playing symphony music. I rubbed up. She was nice and juicy. I mounted. I hit her a few swift, vicious jolts. Then I went slow, and I ripped again. Pounded away. It really excited me. And Tessie pushed me away. Get off! What? What? I hear the van. I get fired. I lose my job. No, you whore. I ripped away without mercy. Pressed my lips against that glistening orb of mouth. Maybe I shouldn't read this. Tessie picked up her shoes and panties and ran to the bathroom. I wiped off with my handkerchief and straightened the bedspread. Fluffed up the pillows. As I was zipping up, the door opened. Walked into the front room. Henry, would you help Larry carrying the table? It's heavy. Sure. Where's Tessie? I think she's in the bathroom. I followed Deborah out of the truck. We slid the table out of the van, grabbed it and carried it to the back house. As we came back in, Tessie was sitting on the couch with the cigarettes. Don't drop the merchandise, boys, she said. No way, I said. We carried it into Deborah's bedroom and put it by the bedside. She had another table there which she removed. Then we stood around and looked at the marble top. Oh, Henry, just $200. Do you like it? Oh, it's fine, Deborah, just fine. I went to the bathroom. I washed my face, combed my hair. Then I dropped my pants and shorts and quietly washed my parts. I pissed, flushed, and walked back out. Care for a wine, Larry? No, but thanks. Thanks for helping, Larry, said Deborah. Larry went out the back door. I'm so excited, said Deborah. Tessie sat and drank and talked with us for 10 or 15 minutes. Then she said, I've got to go. Stay if you want to, said Deborah. No, I've got to go. I've got to clean my apartment. It's a mess. Clean your apartment? Today? And you've got 2 nice friends in to drink with? Asked Deborah. I just sit here thinking about that mess over there, and I can't feel relaxed. Don't take it personally. Alright, Tessie. You go now. We'll forgive you. Alright, darling. They kissed in the doorway, and then Tessie was gone. Deborah took me by the hand, and led me to the bedroom. We looked at the marble tabletop. What do you really think of it, Henry? Well, I've lost $200 to the track, and I've had nothing to show for it, so I think it's alright. We'll be here next to us tonight, while we sleep together. Maybe I'll just stand there, and you can go to bed with the table. You're jealous. Of course. Deborah walked off. Walked back into the kitchen. He came back with some rags and some cleaning fluid. She began wiping off the marble. You see, there's a special way to treat marble to accent the veins. Oh. I go undressed and sat on the edge of the bed in my shorts. And I lay back on the pillows on the bedspread. And I sat up. Oh, Christ, Deborah. I'm messing up your bedspread. That's all right. I went and got 2 drinks. Gave one to Deborah. I watched her working on the table. And she looked at me. You know, you have the most beautiful legs I've ever seen on a man. Not bad for an old guy, huh, kid? Not at all. She rubbed at the table some more, then gave it up. How'd you get along with Tessie? She's alright. I really like her. She's a good worker. I wouldn't know about that. I felt bad that she left. I think she just wanted to give us some privacy. I ought to phone her. Why not? Deborah got on the phone. She talked to Tessie for quite some time. It began to get dark. What about dinner? She had a phone in the centre of the bed, and she was sitting on her legs. She had a nice behind. Deborah laughed, and then she said goodbye. She looked at me. Tessie says that you're sweet. I went out for more drinks. When I got back, the large colour television was on. We sat side by side on the bed watching TV. We sat with our backs to the wall, drinking. Henry, she asked, what are you doing on Thanksgiving? Nothing. Quite a bit, true. Why don't you have Thanksgiving with me? I'll get the turkey. I'll have 2 or 3 friends over. Alright, that sounds good. Alright, it sounds good. Deborah leaned forward and snapped the set off. She looked very happy. Then the light went off. She went to the bathroom and came out with something flimsy wrapped around her. And she was in bed next to me. We pressed together. My cock rose. Her tongue flicked in and out of my mouth. She had a large tongue and it was warm. I went on down. I spat there, worked my tongue, and I gave her a bit of a nose job. She was responding. I climbed back up, mounted her, and stuck it in. I worked and I worked. I tried to think of Tessie in her short red skirt. It didn't help. I given it all to Tessie. I pumped on and on. Sorry, baby, too much to drink. Feel my heart. She put her hand on my chest. It's really going, she said. Am I still invited for Thanksgiving? Sure, my poor dear. Don't worry, please. I kissed her goodnight, then rolled away and tried to sleep. What do you guys think of the book so far? Or the pages we've read? Oh, 255 pages I've read? Good Lord. That's crazy. After Deborah left for work the next morning, I bathed and tried to watch TV. Henry really gets around. True. Yeah, he's very influential apparently. This is in 1970s or so, though, I think. So I think that does a lot of it. No, maybe 60s even, 60s, 70s. When there was only landlines for phones. And letters and being sent. Which is so interesting. It's so interesting to read this and be like, holy shit, what a difference. What a generation. What a yeah, it's been in the 70s. Yeah, I get this. Wow. I kind of wish I had the opportunity to live without phones being so prevalent. I feel like it was such a privilege to live when the only contact you had was personal through the landline phone, like when you were home, or like through letters. I feel like that's kind of crazy, you know? Anyway. After Deborah left for work the next morning, I bathed and tried to watch TV. I walked around naked and noticed that I could be seen from the street through the front window, so I had a glass of grapefruit juice and rest. Finally, there was nothing to do but go back to my place. There'd be some mail, maybe a letter from someone. I made sure that all the doors were locked, then I walked out to the Volks, started it, and drove back down Los Angeles. Drove back to Los Angeles. Oh, let's listen to some of this. Wait, where is it? Through. Oh, I love this. Do, 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 do. On the way in, I remembered Sarah, the third girl I had met during the reading at the Lancer. I had her phone number in my wallet. I drove home, took a crap, and phoned her. This is like... no, it's fine. Hello, I said. This is Chinaski, Henry Chinaski. Yes, I remember you. What are you doing? I thought I might drive out to see you. I have to be in my restaurant today. Why don't you come over here? It's a health food place, isn't it? Yes, I'll make you a very good, healthy sandwich. Oh? I close at 4. Why don't you get here a little before that? All right. How do I get there? Get a pen and I'll give you directions. Pen? I wrote the directions down. See you at about 3:30, I said. About 2:30, I got into the Volks. Somewhere on the freeway, the instructions got confusing, or I became confused. I have a great dislike, both, for freeways and for instructions. I turned off and found myself in Lakewood. I pulled into a gas station and phoned Sarah. Drop on in, she answered. In, spelled I-N-N. Shit, I said. What's the matter? You sound angry. I'm in Lakewood. Your instructions are fucked. Lakewood? Wait. I'm going back. I need a drink. Now, hold on. I want to see you. Tell me what street in Lakewood and the nearest cross street. I let the phone hang and went to see where I was. I gave Sarah the information. She redirected me. It's easy, she said. Now promise you'll come. All right. And if you get lost again, phone me. I'm sorry, you see. I have no sense of direction. I've always had nightmares about getting lost. I believe I belong on another planet. That's the one thing that I'm really grateful to have. Google Maps. Because I would suffer like Henry Chinaski does. It's alright, just follow my new instructions. I got back in the car, and this time it was easy. Soon I was on the Pacific Coast Highway looking for the turnoff. I found it. It led me to a snob shopping district near the ocean. I drove slowly and spotted it. Drop on in, a large hand-painted sign. There were photos and small cards pasted on the window. An honest-to-God health food place. Jesus Christ. I didn't want to go in. I drove around the block and passed the drop-on-in slowly. I took a right, then another right. I saw a bar, Crab Haven. I parked outside and went in. Yeah, right. Fucking shit. I would be absolutely fucked. It was 3:45 in the afternoon. No, I don't want to switch to Irish. I want to keep the Texan accent. I feel like reading this is perfect for practicing my other accents, besides my American and my posh British. Because this is so raunchy, it doesn't fit with regular American or posh British. It was 3:45 in the afternoon, and every seat was taken. Most of the clients were well on the way. I stood and ordered a vodka 7. Hey, I've also learned what vodka 7 is. It's apparently lime. Soda mixed with vodka. Disgusting. I took it to the telephone and phone said, Era. It's okay, Henry. It's so... Okay, it's Henry. I'm here. Okay, it's Henry. I'm here. I don't know why I thought that was her. I saw you drive past twice. Don't be afraid. Where are you? Crab Haven. I'm having a drink. I'll be there soon. All right, don't have too many. I had that one and another. I found a small empty booth and sat there. I really didn't want to go. I hardly remembered what Sarah looked like. I finished the drink and drove to her place. I got out, opened the screen door, and walked in. Sarah's behind the counter. She saw me. Hi, Henry, she said. I'll be with you in a minute. She was preparing something. 4 or 5 guys sat and stood around. Some sat on a couch. Others sat on the floor. They were all in their mid-20s. They all were all the same. They were dressed in little walking shorts, and they just sat. Now and then, one of them would cross his legs or cough. Sarah was a fairly handsome woman, lean, and she moved around briskly. Class. Her hair was red blonde. It looked very good. We'll take care of you, she told me. All right, I said. There was a bookcase. 3 or 4 of my books were in it. I found some Lorca. Let's see if that's an actual author. Oh, it is. Federico Garcia Lorca. Lorca. Gypsy Ballads, 1928. Intense poetic tragedies evoking the passionate emotions of Spanish life, notably Blood Wedding, 1933. He was killed by nationalists in the Spanish Civil War. Cool. I love being able to click names and actually have them, tell me about writers and stories. Poets. I actually found, I still get lost even with Google Maps. True. Yeah, same actually. I found another one. Apparently, Bukowski's favorite author was Knut Hamsun. Knut Hamsun. Knut Hamsun. Never heard of him before. Way before my time. Way before my time. There was a bookcase. 3 or 4 of my books were in it. I found some Lorca and sat down and pretended to read. That way I wouldn't have to see the guys in their walking shorts. It looked as if nothing had ever touched them. All well-mothered, protected, with a soft sheen of contentment. None of them had ever been in jail, or worked hard, or with their hands, or even gotten a traffic ticket. Skimmed milk jollies, the whole bunch. Sarah brought me a health food sandwich. Here, try this. I ate the sandwich as the guys lolled about. Soon one got up and walked out, then another. Sarah was cleaning up. There was only one left. He was about 22 when he sat on the floor. He was gangly, his back bent like a bow. He had on glasses with heavy black rims. He seemed more lonely than Daft and the others. Hey, Sarah, he said. Let's go out and have some beers tonight. Not tonight, Mike. How about tomorrow night? All right, Sarah. We stood up and walked to the counter. He put her coin down and picked up a health food cookie. He stood at the counter eating the health food cookie. When he finished it, he turned and walked out. Wow, Stream Elements just spamming. Amazing. Did you like the sandwich? Sarah asked. Yes, it wasn't bad. Could you bring in the table and the chairs from the sidewalk? I brought in the table and the chairs. So what do you want to do? She asked. Well, I don't like bars. The air is bad. Let's get something to drink and go to your place. All right, help me carry the garbage out. I helped her carry the garbage out. Then she locked up. Follow my van. I know a store that stocks good wine. Then you can follow me to my place. She had a Volkswagen and I followed her. There was a poster of a man in the back window of her van. Smile and rejoice, he advised me, and at the bottom of the poster was his name, Dreyer Baba. Huh. Urdu Baba. Oh, cool. A holy man. Baba and I have squabbled. Rum Baba. Small, rich sponge cake. Really? Typically soaked in rum-flavored syrup. What? That sounds awesome. Via French from Polish, literally married peasant woman. Wait, what? What? Look at this. The first one. cooked baubles are hollowed out and filled with confectioner's custard. Via French from Polish, literally married peasant woman. A rum baba's apparently a goddamn woman. No, it's a cake. That's interesting. I love learning about these new things. Dreyer Baba. We opened a bottle of wine and sat on the couch in our house. The sound of the sun, yeah. Oh, dude, it's bright now. Good Lord. I liked the way her house was furnished. She had built all her furniture herself, including the bed. Photos of Dreyer Baba were everywhere. He was from India and had died in 1971, claiming to be God. Okay, it's 70s now, yeah, cool. While Sarah and I sat there drinking the first bottle of wine, the door opened and a young man with snaggled teeth, long hair, and a very long beard walked in. "This is Ron, my roommate," said Sarah. "Hello, Ron. Want wine?" Ron had a wine with us. Then a fat girl and a thin man with a shaved head walked in. They were Pearl and Jack. They sat down. Then another young man walked in. His name was Gene John. Gene John sat down. Then Pat walked in. Pat had a black beard and long hair. He sat on the floor, down on the floor at my feet. "I'm a poet," he said, and took a swallow of wine. "How do you go about getting published?" he asked me. He submitted to the editors. "But I'm unknown." "Everybody starts out unknown. I give 3 readings a night a week, and I'm an actor, so I read very well. I figure if I read my stuff enough, somebody will want to publish it. It's not impossible. The problem is that when I read, nobody shows up. I don't know what to tell you. I'm going to print my own book." Whitman did. Oh, wait, let's see. Walter Whitman? Walt Whitman. Yeah. Oh, that's right. Song of Myself. That's right. That's a good one. "Will you read some of your poems?" "Christ, no." "Why not?" "I just want to drink." "You talk about drinking a lot in your books. You think drinking has helped your writing?" "No, I'm just an alcoholic who became a writer so that I could be able to stay in bed until noon." I don't know why that's funny. I turned to Sarah. "I didn't know you had so many friends." "This is unusual. It's hardly ever like this." "I'm glad we got plenty of wine." "I'm sure they'll be leaving soon," she said. The others were talking. The conversation drifted, and I stopped listening. What is this music? The secrets, apparently. Yeah, we're suffering actors. We're suffering artists? Creatives. I guess that's how it works, ain't it? A delicate balance of alcohol and cocaine. Yeah, if cocaine weren't, what do you say, 75 per gram? $75 per night or something like that? Per gram, I think it was. Yeah. I've learned a lot about different types of drugs, like Quaaludes, how much cocaine costs, about different types of alcohol, names, and stuff I typically don't involve myself in, and I've stayed very ignorant with. Quaaludes. Yeah, it just switched the E with an A, then you got it. And I also think it's the Quaaludes. I think it's Quaaludes. Oh, that could be. Yeah, don't do drugs. Kids. As if there would be kids here. If anything, I'm one. The others were talking. Conversation drifted and I stopped listening. Sarah looked good to me. When she spoke, it was with wit and incisiveness, spelt with a J. She had a good mind. Pearl and Jack left first, then Gene John, and Pat the poet. Ron sat on one side of Sarah, and I sat on the other. I couldn't... Just the three of us. Just the 3 of us. Ron poured himself a glass of wine. I couldn't blame him. He was her roommate. I had no hope to outwaiting him. He was already there. I poured Sarah a wine, and then one for myself. After I finished drinking it, I said to Sarah and Ron, well, I guess be going. Don't do drugs, Timmy. It's raw candy, exactly. It's fine. It's okay. Why is it so loud all of a sudden? My goodness. Oh my. Oh no, said Sarah. Not so soon. I haven't had a chance to talk to you. I'd like to talk to you. She looked at Ron. You understand, don't you, Ron? Sure. He got up and walked to the back of the house. Hey, I said, I don't want to start any shit. What shit? Between you and your roommate. Oh, wait. What shit? Between you and your roommate. Oh, there's nothing between us. No sex, nothing. He rents the room in the back of the house. Oh, I heard the sound of the guitar. And loud singing. That's Ron, said Sarah. He just bellowed and called the hogs. His voice was so bad that no comment was needed. Jeez. Ron sang on for an hour. Sarah and I drank some more wine. She lit some candles. Here, have a beady. These nicknames. Beady. I don't know what a beady is. Beady. Oh, South Asia. A type of cheap cigarette made of unprocessed tobacco wrapped in leaves. What? From Sanskrit. From Hindi, B.E. Betel plug cigar. I don't know why I tried to use that. C, an ion triplicate. You don't like it? Would you prefer to see one of me? Oh, even explained it. I tried one. A beedi is a small brown cigarette from India. It had a good tart taste. I turned to Sarah and we had our first kiss. She kissed well. The evening was looking up. The screen door swung open and a young man walked into the room. Barry, said Sarah, I'm not having any more visitors. The screen door banged and Barry was gone. I foresaw future problems. As a recluse, I couldn't bear traffic. It had nothing to do with jealousy. I simply disliked people, crowds, anywhere except at my readings. People diminished me. They sucked me dry. Humanity, you never had it from the beginning. That was my motto. Sarah and I kissed again. We both had drunk too much. Sarah opened up another bottle. She held her wine well. I have no idea what we talked about. The best thing about Sarah was that she made very few references to my writing. When the last bottle was empty, I told Sarah that I was too drunk to drive home. Oh, you can sleep in my bed, but no sex. Why? One doesn't have sex without marriage. Why is that so hard to say? It goes against my... Never mind. One doesn't. Prayer Baba doesn't believe in it. There's a helicopter. You should draw a different hat. The problem is I move. Would just be in the middle of the thing. You should draw a hat of me. Don't draw. De-ionized. I wonder what the helicopter's searching for. Phallic shaped. Dingus. Donkey. One doesn't have sex without marriage. One doesn't? Prayer Baba doesn't believe in it. Sometimes God can be mistaken. Never. Alright, let's go to bed. We kissed in the dark. That was a kiss freak anyway. And Sarah was one of the best kissers I'd ever met. I'd have to go all the way back to Lydia to find anyone comparable. Yet each woman was different. Each kissed in her own way. Lydia was probably kissing some son of a bitch right now. Or worse, kissing his parts. Catherine was asleep in Austin. Sarah had my cock in her hand, petting it, rubbing it. Then she pressed it against her cunt. She rubbed it up and down against her cunt. It was obeying God, Dreyer Baba. I didn't know Dreyer Baba was the name of God. I didn't play with her cunt because I felt that would offend Dreyer. We just kissed and she kept rubbing my cock against her cunt. Maybe against the clit, I didn't know. I waited for her to put my in her cunt, but I just kept rubbing. My hairs began to burn my I pulled away. Good night, baby, I said. And then I turned, rolled over, and put my back up against her. Dreyer baby, I thought. You got one hell of a believer in this bed. In the morning, we began the rubbing bit again of the same end results. I decided, to hell with it. I don't need this kind of non-action. You want to take a bath? Sarah asked. Sure. I walked into the bathroom and let the water run. Sometime during the night, I'd mentioned to Sarah that one of my insanities was to take 3 or 4 steaming hot baths a day. The old water therapy. Sarah's tub held more water than mine, and the water was hotter. I was 5 feet 11 and 3/4 inches. Third of an inch. Third of 3/4 inches. 3 out of 4 inches. How do you say this? Sorry, got loud. Look into the face of God. 5 feet 11 3/4 inches. I was 5 feet 11 3/4 of an inch. Oh my lord. Have I told you that I've had COVID and I have brain fog and my brain doesn't fucking work properly? God damn, this is bullshit. I'll tell you that much. Fucking yeah. 3/4 of an inch. That's what I thought too, but it didn't make sense in my brain parts. Ah. But if you write the things. Yeah, because, but I guess it's 11 and 3/4 inches. 3/4 inches. No. Yeah, that doesn't work. Yeah, that could stretch out. Anyway, thank you guys. Thank you. 3/4 of an inch. I was 5 feet 11 and 3/4 of an inch. And yet I could stretch out in the tub. In the old days, they made bathtubs for emperors, not for 5-foot bank clerks. I got in the tub and stretched. It was great. Then I stood up and looked at my poor raw cunt hair-rubbed cock. Rough time, old boy, but close. I guess it's better than nothing. I sat back down in the tub and stretched out again. The phone rang. There was a pause, and Sarah knocked. You know, speaking of fitting in tubs, I could never. That's the sad fact of being 6'3". 6'3". La 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 la. Oh no. Got distracted by messages on Discord. I sat back down in the tub and stretched out again. The phone rang. There was a pause. Then Sarah knocked. Come in. Hank. It's Deborah. Oh wait. Come in. Hank, it's Deborah. Deborah? How'd you know I was here? He's been calling everywhere. Should I tell her to phone back? No, I'll tell her to wait. I found a large towel and wrapped it around my waist. Wrapped it about my waist. I walked into the other room. Sarah was talking to Deborah on the phone. Oh, here he is. Sarah handed me the phone. Hello, Deborah? Hank, where have you been? In the bathtub. The bathtub? Yes. You just got out? Yes. What are you wearing? I have a towel around my middle. How can you keep the towel around your middle and talk to it on the phone? I'm doing it. Did anything happen? No. Why? Why what? I mean, why didn't you fuck her? Look, do you think I go around doing things like that? Do you think that's all there is to me? Then nothing happened? Yes. What? Yes, nothing. Where are you going after you leave there? My place. My place. Come here. What about your legal business? We're almost caught up. Tasting can handle it? Alright. I hung up. What are you gonna do? Sarah asked. I'm going to Deborah's. I said I'd be there in 45 minutes. But I thought we'd have lunch together. I know this Mexican place. Look, she's concerned. How can we sit around and chat over lunch? I have my mind set on lunch with you. Hell, when do you feed your peeper? People. Peeper. When do you feed your peeper? I open at 11. It's only 10 now. Alright, let's go eat. It was a Mexican place in a snide hippie district of Hermosa Beach. Bland, indifferent types. Death on the shore. Just phase out, breathe in, wear sandals, and pretend it's a fine world. While we're waiting for our order, Sarah reached out and dipped her finger into a bowl of hot sauce. Then she sucked her finger. Then she dipped again. She bent her head over the bowl. Strands of her straight hair poked at me. She kept sticking her finger into the bowl and sucking. Look, I told her. Other people want to see you use that sauce. You're making me sick. Stop it. No, they refill it every time. I hope they did refill it each time. She's not wrong. True. Exactly. Everybody knows Henry Chernaski at this point. And the way he is. I hope they did refill it each time. And the food arrived and Sarah bent and attacked it like an animal, just as Letty used to do. We finished eating, and then we went out and she got into her van and drove to her health food place, and I got into my Volks and started out toward Playa del Rey. I've been given careful directions. The directions were confusing, but I followed them and I had no trouble. It was almost disappointing because it seemed when stress and madness were eliminated from my daily life, there wasn't much left you could depend on. I drove into Deborah's yard. I saw movement behind the blinds. She'd been watching for me. I got out of the Volks and made sure that both doors were locked since my auto insurance had expired. I walked up and bing-bonged Deborah's bell. She opened the door and seemed glad to see me. That was all right. But it was things like that which kept a rider from getting his work done. Got the work done. To turn it on. Oh, my ex-anniversary. Turn 1 years. Turn. Alright, I think I'm done reading now. It's been over an hour, which is crazy. Already you stand at the precipice. You stand on the precipice. The resumes of my business. Used as a resume. As a bodies in a Buddhisma. Jurisma. I did a bodies on a Jurisma. Jurisma. Ajibadabajama Shunishma. Shunishma. Ajijavujaja Zinasma. Zinos me. Jazama Joma Jana Zinos me. Zinos me. Ajaba Joba Jaba Zinosma. Zinosma. Ajana Zuna Zama Rizosma. Zisnosma. Thanks for hanging out, guys. I hope you had a good time. I've gotten to 81% of this book, which is crazy. And you can see in this one, it's at 26. Wait, can you see it? There it is, 26. So that's pretty good. I'm reading a lot. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Now I just wish I could make it into a sustainable thing. I wish. It'd be so cool to do audiobooks and get paid for narrating. But not actually have to do the editing parts, because that would really suck big balls. I don't like the editing part. I used to, but I don't know. And not anymore. Can't wait for the climax of the book. Or another one. Yeah. Curious to see what happens next with Ronan. Yeah! Ronan! That would be fun.
Well, well, well.
La, la, da, na, na. Why is that trending? Well, that's crazy. Oh, that's cool. Eventually, yes. That is the motto. That is the title of my life. You know, besides you, or besides anyone here related to me, that's what I say. Eventually, I'll do things, and eventually. I will bid you a good night. Yes, do bid good night and bid goodbyes. And yeah, hope you guys sleep well. Goodbye, everyone. Sleep well. Thank you.